in the heart of Los Angeles, during the premiere of a much-anticipated film in December 2020, an unforgettable moment unfolded, one that could warm even the coldest hearts. Keanu Reeves, celebrated worldwide for his kindness and humility, was quietly seated in the front row, savoring a rare moment of tranquility. Little did he know that this night would lead to an extraordinary encounter, not with fans or photographers, but with a brave little girl named Sophie Bennett, who had an immense love for popcorn. Sophie, a curious 2-year-old with golden curls and big blue eyes, was attending the event with her mother, Emily, a rising screenwriter in her early 30s. Emily, having become a single mother before Sophie's birth, had received the tickets through an unexpected stroke of luck in the entertainment industry. She hoped the evening would be memorable for both of them, though she never imagined just how significant it would become. Seated only 3 seats away from Keanu, Sophie couldn't resist the buttery aroma of the popcorn resting on his lap. Without hesitation or fear of the flashing cameras or the adults around her, she walked right up and reached into the bucket. The crowd froze for a moment, wondering what would happen next, but Keanu's response was one of the warmest and most genuine smiles anyone could imagine. Rather than being annoyed, he leaned toward her, whispered something that made her giggle, and handed her the bucket. What no one knew was that this innocent gesture stirred a flood of memories in Keanu, bittersweet echoes of moments spent with his own sister during their childhood, long before life became complicated. Emily rushed over, embarrassed, and immediately began apologizing, but Keanu gently stopped her. "It's okay," he said, true to his calm nature, as he crouched down to Sophie's level. "Popcorn tastes better when shared." Those simple yet powerful words seemed to capture his essence, a man who found beauty in small human connections. What followed was a surreal chain of events that no one at the premiere could have predicted. That small act of bravery broke the ice in a room full of Hollywood elites, usually untouchable and distant. People began laughing, clapping, and even sharing their snacks with strangers. For Emily, meeting a global superstar wasn't exciting because of his fame, but because of the kindness shining in his eyes. As the night continued, Keanu and Emily began talking, not as actor and fan, but as two people navigating life's unpredictable twists. Sophie, unaware of the magic happening around her, sat comfortably on Keanu's lap, eating popcorn as if it were the most normal thing in the world. He couldn't stop watching her, laughing and stuffing handfuls of kernels into her mouth. In that brief moment, her laughter and innocence reminded him of someone very close whom he'd lost. His younger sister Kim, who had passed away years earlier after battling leukemia. Kim had been about Sophie's age when Keanu first taught her how to share popcorn during their family movie nights. That memory washed over him like a wave, tightening his throat with emotion. Emily noticed a shift in his expression. "Are you okay?" she asked softly, barely audible above the surrounding chatter. Keanu nodded slowly and gave a gentle smile. "She reminds me of someone I miss," he replied, his voice carrying a mix of comfort and sorrow. Emily didn't press further. She felt the weight behind his words. As the evening progressed, Keanu stayed by Emily and Sophie's side, chatting with them as if they were old friends. Emily, who had struggled as a single mother since Sophie's father left before her birth, felt an unusual sense of peace in his presence. There was something about him, his modesty, his warmth, that made her feel truly seen for the first time in years. When the event ended, Keanu insisted on walking them to their car to shield them from the swarm of paparazzi waiting outside. Under the glow of the parking lot lights, Emily hesitated before speaking. "I don't know if you'll remember this night in a week or a month," she began shakily, "but you've made tonight special for my daughter and for me too." Keanu looked at Sophie, who had fallen asleep in her mother's arms, clutching a handful of popcorn. "I'll remember," he said quietly. "Moments like these are why I keep going." Tears welled up in Emily's eyes. "You have no idea how much that means to us." He paused, carefully considering his next words, then handed her a folded piece of paper. "If you ever need to talk or just want to go to the movies again with Sophie." After he left, Emily unfolded the note. It wasn't just a phone number. It was also a handwritten address. It read, toward new beginnings. Let's keep sharing popcorn. In the days that followed, Emily wrestled with whether she should reach out. She didn't want to seem like another fan trying to intrude on his life. But one night, when Sophie hugged her stuffed rabbit and asked about the popcorn man, she made a decision. She sent a letter through his team, pouring her heart out. She wrote about the struggles of being a single mother, the dreams she had put aside, and the unexpected comfort she had found in that short encounter. She didn't expect a reply, but 2 weeks later, a small package arrived at her door. Inside was a handwritten letter from Keanu. Life has been hard for both of us, it seems. Maybe we can help each other make it a bit easier. How about some popcorn this Saturday? Just the three of us. Emily sat, hands trembling, tears streaming down her face. She wasn't sure if this marked the start of something extraordinary, or just another fleeting act of kindness from a man who had known more pain than most. But one thing was clear. For the first time in years, she felt like she wasn't walking this path alone. Saturday came faster than Emily expected. She paced around her tiny apartment all morning, unsure if Keanu would actually show up or if it had all just been a kind gesture. She kept reminding herself not to get her hopes up. At exactly 3 p.m., a soft knock sounded at the door. When she opened it, there stood Keanu, holding a giant bucket of popcorn and a bouquet of daisies. His iconic black jacket was replaced by a simple gray sweater, and his smile was warm, almost shy. "I wasn't sure if the flowers were too much," he said, handing them over awkwardly. Emily laughed, and her nerves melted away instantly. "They're perfect." Sophie, who had been coloring on the living room floor, looked up and shouted, "The popcorn man!" She ran to him and wrapped her small arms around his legs. Keanu knelt down and handed her the bucket. "For you, little lady," he said, tousling her curls. What followed was an unexpectedly normal afternoon. They watched Sophie's favorite cartoon, pausing every few minutes while she pointed out her favorite scenes. Keanu didn't mind at all. In fact, he seemed genuinely engaged, asking questions and laughing at her adorable explanations. To Emily, the scene was surreal. Here was one of the world's most famous men sitting cross-legged on her worn-out carpet, sharing popcorn with her daughter like they had always known each other. Yet beneath her gratitude, a question lingered in her mind. Why would someone like him care about her life? Later, when Sophie dozed off on the couch, Emily finally asked the question that had been burning inside her. "Why? Why are you here?" Keanu's smile faded slightly, and he leaned back, staring at the ceiling for a long moment before answering. "Because I know what it feels like to think the world has moved on without you, to feel completely alone." His voice cracked slightly, and Emily's heart ached at the vulnerability in his tone. He spoke about his past, losing his best friend River Phoenix at a young age, enduring unimaginable grief after the death of his daughter Ava, and later his mother Jennifer. "I've spent years trying to process all that pain," he admitted. "And sometimes someone like Sophie comes along and reminds me that life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful." Tears streamed down Emily's cheeks. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. Keanu shook his head. "You don't have to be. Meeting you two feels like getting back a little piece of that beauty." The words hung in the air, heavy with emotion. Emily wanted to say something to thank him for his honesty, but no words came. Instead, she reached for his hand, offering silent support that he didn't know he needed. In the months that followed, Keanu became a regular presence in their lives. He brought meals, helped Sophie with art projects, and encouraged Emily to chase her dream of writing screenplays. Slowly, he became more than just a friend. But as their bond grew stronger, so did Emily's fear. Could this really last? Was Keanu too good to be true? Or would life's inevitable challenges pull them apart? Deep down, she wondered if she was ready to open her heart again. Time passed, and what had begun as a random chance encounter evolved into something Emily never imagined. Keanu brought a warmth into her life she hadn't felt in years. Still, a part of her couldn't shake the feeling that it might all be too good to be real. One cool autumn afternoon, Keanu invited Emily and Sophie to a quiet picnic at Griffith Park. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting the city in golden hues. Sophie ran ahead, chasing butterflies, her laughter echoing among the trees. Keanu and Emily spread a blanket under a massive oak tree in a secluded spot. "Have you ever thought about where life will take you?" Keanu asked, his voice gentle and hesitant. Emily looked at him, surprised. "Every day," she admitted. "It's hard not to when life keeps throwing obstacles your way." He nodded, looking down at his hands. "Lately, I've been thinking that life is full of loss, but also moments like this. Moments I don't want to lose." Emily's heart skipped a beat. She looked at him, trying to read the expression in his eyes. Tender but uncertain, as if he were about to say something he wasn't sure how to express. Before she could respond, Sophie ran back, cheeks flushed from playing, holding a dandelion flower. "Popcorn man, make a wish." Keanu took the flower and blew, sending tiny seeds drifting into the breeze. "Done." He smiled at Sophie. "What did you wish for?" Emily asked, half playfully, half curiously. Keanu hesitated, then turned to her, locking eyes. "Courage," he answered softly. "Courage for what?" "To ask you this." He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. Time seemed to freeze as he opened it, revealing a delicate gold ring, simple yet radiant. "Emily Bennett," he said, his voice slightly shaky. "You and Sophie have given me something I thought I'd lost forever, a reason to believe in love, in family, in second chances. I don't want to let it go. Will you marry me?" Emily's hand flew to her mouth as tears filled her eyes. For a moment, she couldn't speak or breathe. She looked at Sophie, clapping excitedly, then at Keanu, whose eyes shone with hope and vulnerability. "Yes," she whispered, her voice breaking. 8,000 times yes." Keanu slid the ring onto her finger, his hand steady even though his eyes sparkled with emotion. Sophie jumped joyfully into his lap, and he wrapped his arms around both of them like they were the most precious treasures in the world. But their story wasn't over yet. In the weeks that followed, their engagement became a source of joy and healing, not just for them but for everyone who knew them. Keanu, known for his quiet solitude, seemed to radiate a new light. He introduced Emily to film sets and connected her with people who could help revive her screenwriting career. In return, Emily helped Keanu open up in ways he never had before. They spent long nights talking about their past, fears, and dreams. She listened without judgment, giving him a safe space to cry and grow. On their wedding day, a small intimate ceremony held at a Napa Valley vineyard. Not a single eye was dry. Sophie, wearing a floral crown, proudly served as a ring bearer, marching confidently down the aisle with a basket full of petals. As Keanu and Emily exchanged vows, their words weren't just promises but acknowledgments of the pain and loss that led them here and the love that now held them together. "I promise to share every kernel of corn with you," Keanu said, prompting chuckles from the guests. Then his tone turned serious. "And I promise never to take a single moment for granted because you and Sophie are everything to me." Emily's vows were equally heartfelt. "I never thought I'd find someone who could love me exactly as I am, with all my scars. But you stepped into our lives and showed me that love isn't about perfection. It's about showing up even when life is hard. I'll spend the rest of my life doing that for you." As they sealed their vows with a kiss, the guests erupted into applause. But for Emily and Keanu, the noise faded into the background. All that mattered was the life they were beginning together. A life built on love, resilience, and the unshakable belief that even the most broken hearts can find their way home. As Sophie laughed and asked for another round of shared popcorn while holding tightly to Keanu's hand, the three of them knew this was just the beginning of their beautiful, imperfect, and extraordinary adventure. This video has been created using the most advanced artificial intelligence tools. From the content to scenarios and visual details, everything has been designed with the innovation and creativity that AI offers.